Good morning, y'all. Um, Sitting at the bus stop waiting on my bus so I can get to work. I'll be so glad when I'm able to pay for my car. Anyway, I left off telling about um, how I contracted 3 STDs while I was pregnant. So, y'all, people yell anything to people on the bus. I guess they think we don't have no sense or we deserve whatever because we have to ride the bus. Back to my story. So, I gotta be crazy too because I married a sicko twice. All right. So, like I said, I stopped at the part where I had contracted 3 STDs from him. And I still marry him. So, and I had so many instances that just showed
I'd
me.
rather have good morning.
Good
baby.
morning.
I'd rather smoke a cigarette than to go
Oh,
in there.
okay.
How's that?
So it's a couple waiting on the bus. So anyway, um, he would. I had so many reasons not to marry him, but I still did it anyway because, like I said, I was young, I was so dumb and green, and I just, I really believed that he loved me and wouldn't do me the way that he was doing. Number one, he never ever, we never ever were exclusive. I would hear stuff about him, and you know, everybody knew about him except for me because like I said, I never was a big girly girl. I never ran in cliques. I had a few church friends that I was loyal to. That's another story. That's another story. And so I really was just at a loss. I mean, I fought so hard to keep him and to prove to him that I wasn't cheated on him. And I look back on it and I was like, wow, how desperate was that? So anyway, we got married in my son was born in July. And I had to have an emergency C-section. And I had to stay in the hospital because my C-section, it was just so painful and everything. You know, he would, only reason he came up to the hospital, I guess, his family and his mom. Now, I love his mom. I really did because she knew her child, and even though she never ever would talk about him, and that's just the mom, but she felt my pain, and I'm not even gonna go into that because she's no longer with us, and I have the utmost respect for her. But anyway, he would call his mom and try to tell her bad stuff about me, and he was just that kind of person. Like, why you think that my family love you? They can't stand you. And he wanted to keep that up. So then I had my son. he would come to the hospital. I'd be crying because I was in so much pain, y'all. And he said, it can't hurt that bad. You just putting on. And I was like, oh, Lord, please zap him with some labor pain. Zap him with something so he can know how it feels. But I just cried because I just couldn't believe that he was that insensitive. Okay, so my son had to stay in the hospital a little longer because he didn't have jaundice, but he had high levels of bilirubin in his system, and they had used forceps to get him out, so you could see the forceps print on his face, on his right side, I think, or left side, I can't remember. But he was beautiful. He's still beautiful to me. But anyway, he had to stay in the hospital, and I was discharged. The same day that I was discharged, well, the next day, I was feeling so bad, and so my incision became infected, and I went to take a shower. You know, you still have the tape and stuff on you. This green nasty stuff was just oozing out of my incision, and I had fever, and my mom had to come and get me out of my apartment and take me to the hospital because I couldn't drive. And it's just a lot, you know. Reliving this is just real, it's sad. So anyway, when I got to the hospital, my incision was completely wide open. They had to immediately put me on IV, open up my incision, get all of the infection out, you know, pour peroxide in or whatever they poured in it. And I was in the hospital for like, I'll say 10 days. So my son had to go home with my mama. And that was a bad experience. But anyway, after that, I found out my son was born in July. He was supposed to just enlist in the reserve just to have some extra income because he was working at Burger King or some fast food restaurant. And so we had talked about getting married, but I was like, when he told me that he had signed up for 4 years in the Navy, I was like, why did you do that? I thought you were just going to be in the reserve. So what I found out is that you would get more money, and get this, if you have a child and if you get married, you get even more money. So that was the basis of us getting married, because I was like, well, if it's real love, it'll wait. Because I didn't feel that we should be married because of all the things that had happened. The STDs, one thing, but because I hadn't told anybody, my family had no idea the type of person that he was. Oh, but they found out. So anyway, we got married that December. He went in August. My son was born in July. He left August, and then when he came back after his basic training, it's when we got married. And for the most part, I was happy. I didn't go, I didn't move away because I had a good job with medical insurance. We had our own place and everything was good. He never sent me money. I would have to call and ask him to send me money. Even though he was getting per diem or whatever it's called because of me and our son, I never saw any of that. I was still taking care of me and my son. And I would practically have to beg him to send me money. So then, this is when the first time that, well, no, this is the second time he broke my heart. And, you know, I was, my son was probably 1, so maybe I was 20, 21. I was young. And I still hadn't moved away because I just, you know how you have that feeling deep inside that you know this isn't good, but you just try to just keep pushing through. So anyway, I had one time, I loved to go to the club and hang out and just, I worked with a lot of friends and I was the only one who had my apartment, me and another girl. But you know, you meet your best friends at work. So we would have like girls' night out way before the Waiting to Exhale's party, way before any of them. We would get together because we worked second shift, and so that weekend because we were off on Fridays, we would get together and have parties, and then I used to go out with my cousins and all of that. And yeah, the bus is coming. Yeah, the bus is coming. So I'll come back later on today. So this is part 2. It's about to get real good, y'all. All right, bye.